More now on the fire in Stour, in which one firefighter has died and 3 others are missing after a major fire at a vegetable packing plant. Police are treating the blade as suspicious. We can talk now to Pat Tissington, an organisational psychologist who's at the scene in Atherstone. Dr. Tissington, when you get 4 deaths at one fire, that's a huge psychological blow to the emergency services.
Yes, indeed. I've been working with the fire service for 10 years now. I've been training people in incident command, and I know how the fire service is a really tight-knit organisation. It's just like losing a member of the family. It's the most extraordinary thing. We haven't had anything like this for such a long time. One can only imagine that the people involved are in a desperate situation.
Of course, everyone freely joins the emergency services, the fire service. What is the attitude of firemen to going into a blazing building?
Firefighters actually have their priority, as they see it, particularly these days, is to prevent fires happening in the first place, and they've had an enormous success in doing that. But when the situation demands it, yes, that's what they do. They deliberately go into harm's way, and it's about saving life and preserving property in that order. And so normally you would expect to be committed to a burning building that there was some sort of rescue attempt, some sort of search going on. That would be the normal sort of thing to go inside a building of this type. Because the worst thing that can happen to the fire service is to find out later on that there was someone in the building who they could have rescued. And I'm sure that's the sort of thing that they would have had in mind.
So firemen feel that they have a duty to search a building unless they can confirm that there's nobody inside it.
That's the default position. It's always an enormously confused scene when you arrive at an incident, and the first thing that an incident commander would want to do is to make sure that there was no one inside the building. And from the little we know about this incident, I'm sure it was really difficult to get any firm information about who was or was not in the building. And so one would imagine that that is the priority at the beginning of an incident.
What sort of effect, I don't know how many of the firefighters at the scene there that you've been able to talk to, but what sort of effect has it had on the people helping now to investigate the fire and damp it down?
Oh, I've only just arrived. I've not had a chance to speak to people here. But there's a lot of people here. There's a shift changeover just going on now. There's quite a long briefing before they change over to make sure everyone knows what's going on. As soon as it gets dark, it becomes that much more difficult to keep safe, because it becomes that much more confusing around when there's when you have to put lights on and so forth. They're going about it in a very deliberate and careful way.
Well, just one more, Dr. Tissington. There appears to be no shortage of men who volunteer, men and women who volunteer to be firefighters. Why is that?
Yes, yeah.
Why is that? What sort of person volunteers?
Well, to be a firefighter, it's from what I've met of the fire service, and I've met hundreds of people in the fire service, it's a profession which has a great deal of attraction to it. You feel that you're, particularly those people who like working as part of a tight-knit team. Some of these watches, the units in the fire service, stay together for 20 years. So you get to know people really well, and they call it a brotherhood. One has to be careful to say that there's a lot of women involved as well, so it's a brotherhood or a sisterhood. It's certainly a family. And so when an incident like this happens, it's devastating.
Pat Tissington, thank you for talking to us.